Antweight World Series is a combat robotics event with a long history. It's been running around 3 times a year since 1999. It generally brings out some of the fiercest competitors in the UK. Field sizes range from about 50 to 100 robots, and generally it's a pretty tough competition to win. Historically, it's been a double elimination tournament. So what that means is, if you lose once, you get knocked down into the losers bracket. If you lose twice, that's it, you're done for the day and you go home. Now we come to the rules. AWS has historically run the 4-inch cube rule. So a robot must fit in a 4-inch by 4-inch by 4-inch cube, or 101.6mm if you don't like mixing your metric and imperial units. The robots can weigh no more than 150 grams, unless they have a shuffling mechanism or some other form of unconventional locomotion. These robots get a weight bonus and they can go up to like 225 grams. Back in February 2024, I decided to attend my first AWS. I took along my 4-wheel drive vertical spinner, Revron, and also a 4-wheel drive lifter that I've got called Chevron. For this recap, I'll be looking at Revron's run through the event. Revron's first opponent was Miracle Throw. This is a servo flipper with a very large servo able to launch opponents fairly effectively. I've fought similar designs in the past, and going into this one I was relatively happy that the forks of the robot should be able to get under the acetate wedge on the front of Miracle Throw. That being said, I don't know if I'll get a good bite on the wedge if I do, so let's see how it went.
Throw over. Not quite the big hits that we probably expected at this stage, but Revron has paced himself, throwing a Miracle Throw across the arena. Is that arm stuck? I think that is. That's going to severely hamper Miracle Throw's efforts to win. Or will it? That was almost a push out there. Miracle Throw struggling to get back up, but does. Very cagey match there. Definite damage on Miracle Throw, but it's still working alongside it very well. Revron being pushed around. You can hear the drum just about spinning up, just showing how balanced that weapon is and how controlled Revron is. But he's being pushed about by Miracle Throw. Nothing it can do, I don't think. Oh, very close to that push out.
Ouch, so that wasn't the start I was hoping for. 1 of 2 losses straight out the gate. Now, the fight isn't as simple as just being outdriven. From the start, something was a little bit wrong with Revron. It's usually one of the fastest robots across the box, however in this case, it was a little bit sluggish from the get-go. I couldn't quite figure out why. Throughout the fight, as things progressed, it started to just get a little slower until eventually one of the drive sides had pretty much given up by the time I was pushed out. The weapon was still working well, and I still got some pretty good hits in, but in the end it wasn't enough, and that's the first loss of the day, and one of the 2 that I'm allowed. There's no time to mull over defeat, however, so I had to get the robot out the box and assess the damage, see what was wrong, and see if I can get it fixed before the next fight. Having torn the thing apart, it transpired that I burned out one of the drive motors. The culprit was a little bit of debris that got sucked into the drive system, probably in testing the night before, and it jammed up the front right wheel. This had eventually overworked the right-hand motor, and it had just given up the ghost towards the end of the fight. The next opponent is a robot called Runtime Exception. This is a front hinge flipper, and it's driven by a fairly experienced driver, so I needed to be on my best form if I didn't want to be going home very early.
Runtime Exception trying to get around a very enthusiastically dancing Revron there from that drum. Gets underneath it, pushes him to the side. Revron still dancing around. I don't know if that drum's up to a higher speed than it normally is, but Revron gyrating a lot more than it normally does. Sending Runtime Exception to the sky. Back into the arena though, the fight continues. But Runtime Exception wanted to exit the arena early then, but got back into it. Trading blows here. Revron lands a good hit actually there. Struggling to land the hits, but I think they're now starting to come. The difficulty with some of these wedges is getting underneath the front. A few more hits there. That acetate on the front of Runtime Exception definitely looking a bit worse to wear now. Everyone just trying to land a couple more hits. Oh, into the roof. Back into the arena. Runtime Exception tanking these hits. Like a shot. Oh, almost out of the arena. A little bit unlucky there from Revron, but definitely lucky for Runtime Exception. Oh, out of the arena.
Okay, that was much more like it. So the robot seemed to have its usual speed back, and it was much more manoeuvrable than I expected, actually. Having a little look at that fight, you'll notice there was a lot of overcorrection and things didn't seem to be quite as smooth as you might expect. And this is because when I'd swapped the motor out, I'd somehow managed to disable the braking on the Malenki. What this means, in simple terms, is the motors weren't stopping when I brought the transmitter stick back to center. They were just coasting, so it was kind of like driving on ice. It took me a little while to get used to it, but eventually when I did, we managed to get some good hits in and eventually end the fight by punting the runtime exception out of the arena. Next up is a robot called Roadrunner. This is a four-wheel drive wedge robot. It's pretty well driven, so again, we'll see if we can take it out.
Are we ready? Yep. Start it. 2 minutes on the clock. Revrons trying to get around the edge for Roadrunner. Not quite managing to do any reasonable damage yet, but grinding away at that front. Sending Roadrunner into the sidewall there. Revrons gyro dancing around. When all those blades engage. Almost out of the arena there from Revrons. Definitely appears to be the more agile of the two as Roadrunner is sent skywards. Oh, and another big hit there. Inverted, Roadrunner can't do a fair deal, but he drives out of the arena. Revrons,
So brilliant, that went really quite well, better than I expected actually. The drive seems to be working okay. I've still not managed to get the braking turned back on again, so it's still a little drifty, but I'm getting used to it now and it's kind of manageable. So far throughout the tournament, I haven't actually taken any major damage other than the motor locking up and burning itself out, but the chassis has been kept in fairly good nick. This is something that could be about to change, so I'm fighting a drum spinner called Baphomet. Baphomet is a two-wheel drive vertical spinner with a little drum, quite similar to Revron. It spins faster than Revron does, so ideally I want to avoid the weapon and get round to the sides and send it up into the air, because I think if we went to weapon to weapon, I'll probably lose that exchange.
Robot is ready. Yep. 2 minutes on the clock, both robots. Baphomet appears to be having some issues spinning. I know he's fine. No contact made yet, now there is. Baphomet going in for the kill against Revron. Revrons driving around. Baphomet trying to get back onto his wheels, popping up in the air again. Some very controlled drums these. Ordinarily we might see these bouncing around, but out of the arena goes Baphomet. There's a win for Revrons.
Okay, so I got a little lucky there. I managed to get Baphomet upside down and eventually it gyroed itself out of the arena. So I escaped with a very small amount of damage, but nothing major, which is ideal from a fight like that. No major rebuilds needed. Going into the next fight, it's a titanium wedge called Studio. This is, again, a fairly well-driven bot, and it's very durable. I do think that my forks should be better than the wedge as far as the ground game's concerned. So in theory, I should be able to tackle this one head-on, get underneath it, and hopefully punt it out the arena.
2 thumbs up, let's go. Studio, definitely one of the impressive robots of today. Again, it's Revron, beautifully built. Crisp spinner. Big hit there on the Studio. Oh, out of the arena. Revron, your winner.
It's taken a few fights, but that's exactly what I was hoping for. I had a plan, I stuck to the plan, and the plan worked. So Studio got sent up straight out of the arena. The forks got under it pretty easily, and I was able to drive the robot exactly as I liked to. Things were slowly starting to click, and despite losing the first fight, we're still in it, fighting our way through the losers bracket. Next up is Stewie, and Stewie is a very refined flipper. It's built by the same roboteer as Baphomet, which I knocked out of the tournament a couple of fights ago, so Stewie's definitely out for revenge.
Yeah. Okay. Big hit there from Revron on Stewie. Another flip there from Stewie on Revron. Good back and forth already. Stewie trying to get around the sides of Revron. Revron makes a rare mistake there, faces the wall. Stewie capitalising on those. Definitely a very, very skilled pair of drivers, these two. Over and Revrons sent flying. Stewie gets Revrons over. Not quite out of the arena. Still very good for a judge's decision if it goes that far. Stewie flips back over. Revrons sizing Stewie out. Close to the pitch but can't quite make it stick. Very tense music for a tense battle this one. Revrons set upside down, stuck in that corner, does himself right. Stewie can't flip again. Whee! Stewie sent flying and the driver shouting whee. Revrons trying to get around the side of Stewie. Stewie trying to do the same to Revrons. Just over 45 seconds remaining in this fight. Into the roof goes Stewie. And something threw off one of the robots there. Almost getting the final 30 seconds. This fight could still go either way yet. Brilliant back and forth between these two robots. And that is, looks like the flipper is stuck on Stewie. We have to start counting that out, unfortunately. Oh! Have to restart again. He's back alive, but in the last 10 seconds, can Stewie do anything to turn the tides back? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Wow, so that one was pretty close. I don't think I've ever had to concentrate on an Antweight fight as much in my life. It was very nip and tuck. Stewie got under me a lot and threw me around the arena a lot, and I got some really good hits on him. Honestly, if it had gone to the judges, I wasn't confident which way it had gone, so I was very, very glad to be able to punt him out the arena at the last minute. There were 2 seconds left on the clock when that happened, and I think the judges were pretty glad to not have to score that one, because it was going to be close. So by the skin of our teeth, we're still in the competition, and we progress on to the next fight. With that out of the way, we're actually into the top 16 now, which, considering we lost the first fight of the day, is incredible. This is way better than I expected with that start. The next robot up is a robot called Whoa Frogger Money. I don't have much of an idea of how fast it is, and I don't have much of an idea of how hard it hits, so this one is a little bit of an unknown. Again, I'm going to try and get around to the sides of it and take out the wheels because I know they're unprotected, but I also really don't want to get hit by it. The reason being, it's got a larger weapon than my robot does, and therefore I'm likely to lose a weapon-to-weapon exchange just because I don't have the reach.
Let's go. 2 minutes on the counter, 2 big spins. Revrons sent flying immediately. Frogger Money definitely controlling the ground game, but something just off in front. Is Revrons going to have an easy time getting that front now? Oh, Frogger Money loses a wheel, I think. Revrons now senses. He's going for the kill. A few more hits on the other wheel there, almost out and out of the arena. Your winner, Revrons.
Okay, so the first bit of that plan didn't go as planned. I didn't immediately get around the side and was initially punted straight up into the air. The robot stayed pretty level as it flew through the air, which is kind of interesting. It shows how the gyroscopic effect can really stabilize things and that they don't want to twist and turn. That being said, when I landed, I made the most of it, managed to get around the side, take off a wheel, and then eventually got Frogger Money upside down, and it took itself out on its own weapon. So that's it, we're into the top 8. Really, really surprised by this for an AWS debut, and very happy with things so far. The next fight is going to be a tricky one. So there's a little bit of background behind this fight. I'm fighting a robot here who'd actually got 2 robots into the top 16, and therefore they were able to pick which robot would progress. This is a rare situation, but it does sometimes happen, and unfortunately for me, it meant they were able to pick the robot that would best be suited to fighting Revrons. As such, I'm fighting a large horizontal spinner called Relativity. Relativity is a shuffler, so it can run a 225 gram weight rather than 150 gram weight, and it hits incredibly hard. So this one is going to be a little bit difficult. We'll see how it goes.
Thumbs up, let's go. Go what's been on Revrons sent flailing around the arena. Sizing each other out with the right moment. Revrons again sent flying. And again. And out of the arena. Your winner, Relativity.
So unfortunately, with that loss, Revrons' run at AWS comes to an end. Relativity was well driven. Unfortunately, I also made a driving error, didn't throttle down the weapon when I got upside down in the push-out, and that carried me out of the arena. If I'm fighting something like Relativity again, I think an improved wedge setup is needed, and also I need to improve my driving to have a chance. As well as a top 8 finish, Revron also won a couple of awards, which was a really nice surprise. It won one of the Best Fight awards for its fight with Stewie, so the two robots shared that one. And it also won a Best Design award, which was a real honour to receive, especially considering the calibre of engineering that was on display that day. The award itself is actually a really lovely piece of design in its own right. It's something that I've had to the side for this entire video. Really cool thing. And thank you to all of the guys who put on AWS and all the guys who made the trophy there. I know a lot of effort goes into running events like that, and it's great to be able to participate. So thank you. If you like this video, let me know down in the comments. And also, if you'd like to see more like it, let me know that too.